Could you talk a little bit about the difference between patience, giving ourselves patience, abundancy of patience, which is supposed to be good, versus being too easy on ourselves? Say you meditate every day for 2 hours every day, and then you stop and you say, well, I must be patient with myself. I'm not angry at myself for not meditating. But then at the same time, if you're just so patient, you could just end up being lazy.
Well, but you're not dumb.
Yeah.
You're not stupid, so you don't cheat yourself. And I mean, if you feel like meditating 2 hours per day and you feel there's a quality, then you can also say, okay, I take a week off and I run around without meditating and I see if it brings the same quality. And if you're honest with yourself, then patience most probably is practiced while staying in the situation that is not as comfortable but brings forth a quality. It's all very simple if we stop cheating ourselves, if we stop telling stories to ourselves, and then we just see what it is, you know. And we see that different actions have different qualities, because that's where we are. We are not just, you know, just because I think, well, since I anyhow don't have to cling to any thoughts, I can think whatever. Well, most of the time we just drift away in the same soup as always. So there's no increase of quality. And so, same comes with being patient. You know, being patient is training actually. And most of the time, when you sit on your cushion, you sit and meditate, then being patient is most likely to be trained in where it's needed to be patient. So, staying. But all of this is, I believe, you know, people are intelligent enough. We just sometimes, we would like to have some quick results, you know. So we are very clever, you know. We have this whole system of education that makes us very clever. And we are triple clever in cheating ourselves and telling us stories. But if we are just honest down to earth, well, that's where we are, that's where we stay. And so we can't make it any different. And that's the fun of it, because we stop running away and we have all the freedom to just be where we are and finally take a good breath and relax. Instead of constantly running about and trying to get another thing cranked up, trying to get another story going, we suddenly stop the story. We just have a look. Maybe we will actually, in this story that we stop, and just being there, we will see a lot more and get a lot more out of it than we ever expected.
What if somebody has a hard time to really sit down and meditate? What if he or she thinks that it's kind of silly, like he or she has a hard time to really take action, although she thinks that it's a good way to do things? He should be doing that?
Well, I don't believe we should do anything, because we only do things that we believe are good.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think it's silly, most probably you don't think it's good to do, so you don't do it.
Okay.
If you think it's worthwhile, then you give it a try, and then it can be that you think, well, the way I am, I may be quite speedy in my own mind, I don't have an easy time to settle, so, but I think it's worthwhile to give it a try. We don't have to sit like 10 hours per day. It is the quality, so if we can, where we are, induce a certain quality into our life by giving it some importance, because we think it is important to us. We think what we do there actually brings something in our life that we otherwise wouldn't get. And we say, okay, I take the time, I can do it. If we can do it for only 5 minutes, it's only 5 minutes. But that's no problem. It's not even only 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. It's only in our judgment. Maybe somebody who has a very active mind and who is very inclined to run about, for him to bring about the change, to sit 5 minutes quiet and to work on his mind, will have a different quality than for somebody being able to sit for 1 hour without big progress because he is at ease. It is not the amount that brings forth something, it's the quality. And the quality comes out of what we have to give into it. And sometimes if we don't feel comfortable, but we know, actually, we see we don't feel comfortable because there's a problem. Because if there would be no problem, we would be comfortable. So working on this and giving ourselves in this situation, progressing along with this, actually is very, very valid. As soon as we have decided for it. And because we have decided for it, nobody talked us into it. It's our decision. We said, I want to do this. If somebody else would tell you, he's the guy, he's guilty. He has made it up. But it's actually, Buddhist practice comes out of our own motivation to induce this change in our minds. So, and then we are the judge of it. Not the judge pushing us in sense of guilt, in guilt feelings or whatever, in judging feelings, but we are, let's say we are rather the witness of it. So, the action we undertake, good or bad, is our own. If we are inspired to become less self-centered, and to do this practice, then we do it. If we don't, we don't. Just because I say it's better, doesn't mean you believe it's better. We are all responsible for our own mind. So, I have a very active mind, and I wasn't the person, when I started out practicing meditation, for whom it was the easiest thing to sit around the whole day. Not at all. I just saw value of it. That's why I trained in meditation retreat for many years. But it was not at all because it was my lenience. My lenience was to run around and to do many things and to be very agitated. I just thought that doing this work will be of tremendous benefit. And I thought it's more important than to run around. But that was my decision.